Okay, former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama taking center stage at the DNC, both taking shots at former President Donald Trump as they push the message of hope.
Rich Edson from our sister network, Fox Business, joins us live from Chicago. Hey, Rich.
Hey, guys, how's it going? You know, this floor was filled with cheering delegates just a few hours ago for the Obamas, the hometown heroes here. They capped off the second night of the Democratic National Convention. Michelle Obama spoke first. President Obama followed and finished the evening here. Obama praised his vice president, the current president, Joe Biden, saying he defended democracy at a time of great danger, ostensibly by defeating then-President Trump in 2020. He boosted this year's nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, saying she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American.
I am feeling hopeful because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible.
We love a familiar feeling that's been buried too deep for far too long. Hope is making a comeback.
The Obamas also focused on former President Trump, with former President Obama warning that Trump represents another 4 years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. Before the Obamas, many of the top speakers at the convention focused on Harris's opponent as well. Fox tracking of the 8 major speakers at the second night of the convention, like the Obamas, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator Bernie Sanders, and others, tallied 24 mentions of Trump compared to less than a dozen total on other major issues like the economy, border, and crime. Guys, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Rich. That all might be true. But when people look back on almost every poll about the 4 years of Trump, I guess the 4 years of Biden, Trump wins out on almost all of that. So that's why I was questioning why Kamala Harris says we're not going to go back. Well, a lot of people do want to go back. That's a comparison that Trump wanted. I don't think he's going to run from that. I think he should embrace it and say, yeah, you want whatever that chaos was, here's what, on the foreign policy, on the border, on the economy, it was growing. And you could even say that more, you want to talk about handling the pandemic, not many people want to talk about it, but you could say more people died with the vaccine under President Biden than died with him. We didn't even know it was going to hit us at the time, before we even had a vaccine.
You know, I wonder, Lawrence, why are they taking the stage so late? I mean, Americans on the East Coast have to turn the TV off and go to bed. And I stayed up again last night, and I just was, you know, I wanted to watch the whole thing, but most people aren't doing that. I'm asking people in the studio, did y'all stay awake to watch? Like, it's too late for us.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the programming. Still, they showed the Obamas way more respect than they showed the sitting president. I mean, they finished before he started his speech, and it was still too late. But I just want to follow up on what Brian was talking about. I do think there is something to that hopelessness, but they're not. The American people aren't hopeless because of Donald Trump. I think that's where they're missing the mark. No matter how inspirational they are, no matter how good the cadence is on the stage, you can't dip BS in gold and expect the American people to buy it. Donald Trump hasn't been in charge the last 4 years. You think people are hopeless because of him? Maybe it's because when they go to the grocery store, the prices are out of control. Maybe it's because they thought that their kids would have access to the American dream, but unfortunately they're not able to buy a house, and they now have to take care of their kids and their grandchildren. There is a ton of hopelessness in America. It has little to do with Donald Trump, though, guys.
Well, and we haven't mentioned this hour yet. While the Obamas were on stage there in Chicago, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were actually 90 miles away in the great city of Milwaukee, which we were at a month ago. As it turns out, 4 years ago to the day, that's when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were supposed to accept the nomination at the Fiserv Arena, but because of COVID, that didn't happen. And so those plans were scuttled, and ultimately they wound up having his official nomination in Wilmington. But according to Jackie Heinrich, the reason Kamala Harris, had the event in Milwaukee was because essentially she's got a kind of a tightrope to walk, because the Obamas and the Bidens do not get along very well. And it goes back to 2016 when Barack Obama essentially said, Joe, I'm picking Hillary over you. And I'm going to send David Plouffe. And David Plouffe went and sat down with Joe Biden and showed him all the data and showed that Hillary Clinton had a better chance of winning. David Plouffe actually is now on Kamala Harris's team. So it's a complicated situation. And that's one of the reasons, maybe that's why they were talking about essentially hope. And of course, we know their campaign slogan was hope and change.
Yep.
The change part is from Joe Biden. And now the hope and change is hope for the future. And the change is Kamala Harris, for the most part, has changed
Flip-flop.
all of her stances that she had 90 days ago.
That's exactly right. And she has to walk that tightrope because George Clooney is really good friends with Barack Obama. And many are saying Barack Obama probably put him up to writing that letter, which eventually led to the ousting of Joe Biden. And then Nancy Pelosi didn't want to admit it, but people are saying she was the mouthpiece behind the scenes amongst all the leaders.
Remember, Joe Biden didn't get the endorsement of Barack Obama when he ran in 2020. He said, I just try to earn it. Meanwhile, he wasn't getting it. And in 2016, they used it as an excuse that Bo just passed away and you're in mourning. We're going to go with Hillary Clinton. You're still too upset. He's like, really? I think I can run. It was one of Bo's last wishes that I do run. But then they kicked him to the curb and they gave that long speech on a summer day with Barack Obama in the backdrop. So I don't know what it is, Lawrence. If you want to break up with someone, name him your running mate. Al Gore and Bill Clinton don't talk. Mike Pence and Donald Trump don't talk. Joe Biden and Obama don't talk. I don't know. Does Dick Cheney and George Bush ended on bad terms?
I don't think so.
You know, yeah, they did because of Scooter Libby didn't get his pardon. So they ended up leaving with tension. So the worst thing you could do is name someone your running mate.
Well, I think part of it is, of course, politicians never want to admit it, but they all want the power. And it's so hard when you can feel the power of the president. You're right there, and you never achieve it. And I think that's part of the problem. Even though Tim Walz says he never wants to be president, that he is just there to assist Kamala Harris. We'll see.
And so while the Democrats try to put on a happy face like they're one big happy family, not really probably the case. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.